Dr. Upadya, of Idea International University, Shaka, for the inaugural. Welcome, welcome to Raja, one of the most prominent educational and cultural centers of East. The pleasure, privilege to I know as here in the UAE, we are conducting Buckingham State's programs, basically as well as it's in Sri Lanka, UAE has given us good perspective, which certainly holds well for like so I think I struggle. So as I was saying that behalf of IBM International University, faculty, students, it's a privilege to have you here. Academic conferences always have a very important role to play in the professional life of any scholar anywhere in the world. They are not only a gathering of academicians, they are a very good forum for voicing their academic, scholarly, social, political sometimes views within intellectual community, which otherwise is not available to so many professionals. That is why we have that kind of privilege of being professionals. Having said, I would also like to briefly give a little, now, show a little bit of my concern about these kind of conferences that are held. What is the purpose? What outcomes are we trying to achieve? Is it only being conducted for the purpose of the, there is a old saying and it continues to be very relevant even today, publish or perish for an academic. So whenever we use the term publish or perish, there is some kind of a compulsion within ourselves that we have to. And when we have to survive in the academia, sometimes we go through the motions and not realize the basic purpose of not only research, but also conferences and publications. I come from the management field and I find that a large number of colleagues from the world are only bothered about publishing somehow, anyhow. And when you do that, what happens? You just put your research into some kind of a formula. There are three, four, five sections. You fill those sections, and there are journals and conferences which cater to your need for their own motives, and then you have done it. Whether that research of yours has added any value to the existing body of knowledge or not, whether you have created or done any research which has added any value to the industry, to the society, to various other, you are not bothered. Which means we as academicians have failed in our purpose. We are only doing it for self-service sake. So it is important that we think on these lines. Don't get carried away by just having a conference, attending a conference, publishing something, anything, anyhow, because that does not befit himself. So I have always been a little critical sometimes. So organizers don't like me for that purpose because a conference has to be a conference. It has to conclude something out of its deliberations of the day over a few days. You have to have that conclusion used for the purpose of industry, society, government, or whatever. Do we do that? Sometimes we don't, or most of the time. And it remains in the, you know, academic zone. This is cricket season, and I'll be rushing to watch my match today. Everybody is, and that is why Dr. Prakash should be blamed to keep it on such a day when knowing pretty well that it's going to be a final match. Anyway, uh, we'll take solace in catching up in the dying end of the match. But what I was trying to give an example of that in the old days, because I come from the last century, where we used to have those 5 day matches. We still have, but rarely in between various pajama kind of crickets. But those 5 day cricket, there were three results possible: a victory, a loss, or a draw. Normally, in a football match, you don't have a draw. When if it is a draw, you'll have a shootout or etc. etc. So, on the last day, the fifth day of the match, both the teams have scored 500, 600 runs. And it is very clear that the match will not lead to any victory or loss. But still, the batsman who's playing, he's playing to score a century. And he actually does score a century. What happens to that century? It has not contributed either to victory or to loss, but it remains in the statistics and in the books for academic purposes only. So what we are doing here is mostly the outcome is for academic purpose only, not actually impacting the society, not impacting the industry, not giving any suggestions to the government to improve something or not. That is something which pains me when I meet academicians on forums like this. So this is important for us to keep in mind so that whenever you are thinking, at least next time, when you are uh, invited for a conference uh, or you're thinking to research and write a paper, keep this in mind as to what is the purpose. Am I doing justice to my research or am I just going through the motion because the university wants me to publish and the university will promote me only if I have published this corpus or ABDC or whatever it is, or unless and until I publish so much, I'll not be considered a good academician. What does that mean? Even if I publish once, I come from Lucknow University. And when I joined there as a faculty also, way back in the last century, uh, one of the one of the criteria for appointing a professor, and it is still there in the rule book out there, is a prominent person who has contributed to academics in some way or other can be appointed a professor, irrespective of the number of papers he has published, irrespective of how many years he has taught, irrespective of anything else that we prescribe normally as a criteria for promotions and this and that. And also, there is a distinction one has to keep in mind. There can be very good teachers, but not very good researchers. There can be very good researchers, but not very good teachers. But still, everybody is measured by the same yardstick. It's not fair. That's not fair. And that is where, you know, I appreciate sometimes I'm here in this country now for 20 years. And I have worked with American university systems, worked with British university systems, and of course, my parent universities, Indian people have studied and so on. And I have worked with multinational uh, staff and faculty members, you know, Europeans, like Southeast Asian, and so on and so forth. And one thing that I normally tell them is leave your baggage, come here and think only from the point of view serving the cause of the student. Where do you earn your bread from? In the student. So if you are neglecting them in any which way, it's criminal, right? Anyway, so I don't want to go into too many such details. Once again, I'm happy to be welcoming you all here. I'm happy that IIU is hosting it. We have Priyanka, who has arranged everything, and appreciate Dr. Janagan, who is the chairman of the group, that has not been able to make it, though he was supposed to have come here. On behalf of Dr. Janagan, also, I'd like to welcome you all here. I hope that the day goes on very well, that deliberations are useful, and you carry back a few good memories, not only of the city of Sharjah, hosting here at IIU, but also academically, you take back a few good things, and also uh, wishing each one of you a very good luck. There is a small, yeah, there is a small thing. I think I'll be talking to Dr. Prakash. We have a scholar here who has recently published a book, and we want to release that book also today. And that is where I'm feeling very proud because whenever something constructive happens, it always adds to the value, to the body of knowledge. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.